Hello. It is an absolutely abysmal day. It is really rainy and gray, and all I want to do is go home and curl up in my comfy clothes and crochet. But that's not going to happen. We have errands to do, we have market prep happening, and I'm filming this video. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I am Jamie. I am one of the creators behind Princess Tigerbutton Designs, along with my mom. And we are a new channel, so our last episode was, we called it episode 0, where I kind of introduced my thoughts and visions for the channel. And so I guess this would properly be episode 1. I originally said that my next video wasn't going to come out before my last market of the year on Saturday. I'm actually recording this. That was recorded on Tuesday. And it is now Friday, and I thought perhaps if I'm going to record sort of a look what I made kind of video, that I would much rather do that on a Friday, a little bit closer to the event. That way I can kind of show you what I'm preparing, and I had a little bit more to give you than I did on Tuesday. So I think from going forward, pretty much all of my events are going to be on weekends. So I'd rather do that and do my look what I made, look what I'm prepping on those days. I am working on a chicken nugget, and I'll talk about those a little bit later in the video. So just to kind of recap, I have a market tomorrow. It is the Holly Jolly Holiday Stroll at the Emerald Square Mall in North Attleboro, Massachusetts, my hometown. So if you're local, feel free to come down. There's going to be like 70 vendors, and this is kind of like the last shopping weekend. We are past the USPS ground shipping dates. So at this point, I think, as far as getting gifts in time for next week is going to be, at least as far as online shopping goes, supplies limited unless you really want to pay extra for shipping. So this is kind of like the last chance to pick up stuff in there's going to be like 70 vendors there. We're going to be pretty much filling the first floor of the mall. So that's exciting. I sound like I'm stressed out, but I'm actually pretty excited about this. I think there's going to be a good mix of vendors. And I hope everybody will find something that they're looking for. I did, however, create a little bit of drama this morning. We have a little group chat on the event organizers page going for this, and they've been using that to kind of disseminate information. I apologize if you hear the extra noise. It just all of a sudden started pouring buckets. So anyway, so the event organizers have been using that to kind of disseminate information, and some of the vendors have been using that to kind of introduce themselves and kind of show what we make. And that's how I was able to kind of ascertain that there is a number of other crocheters that are going to be at this event, but it looks like we're going to all have different stuff. There isn't going to be a lot of overlap, so I'm not really worried too much there. Someone was asking if one of the people at Crochets could make a hat, and they were looking for something Paw Patrol. And I waited a few beats before I said anything, and I didn't see anybody jump on it already. So I said that I could make a hat in similar colors if they had a particular pup in mind, but I wasn't going to be doing anything with their images or logos or anything on it because I don't sell copyrighted material. And initially they said okay, and said we'll make a rubble hat, and I figured that's not hard to do. I can kind of pick and choose some colors from his outfit and maybe put a little paw print applique on there, but that's as far as it was going to go. And I suppose if they really wanted to, I could put on the child's name or whatever if they really want to go that route. They ended up passing on it, and which is fine, because if they were expecting it to be done tomorrow for the fair, that just wasn't going to happen. That's just asking too much. And I probably would have been charging at least $10 more than she was expecting to pay. And I figured maybe where I said that I wasn't going to do anything copyrighted, that one of the others were going to jump in on it and take and offer themselves. And that would have been fine. They could do that. But what I ended up inadvertently doing is creating a hullabaloo about selling copyrighted materials, and someone else who is selling some ornaments that use little charms and stuff from copyrighted licensed characters. They were saying, well, their package just doesn't say it's for personal use and this and that and the other thing. And, Disney's already got their money. And I kind of get into a little bit back and forth, because the fact is all of it's legal. Like, you're taking a big risk. if you're going to sell things that are licensed characters. And, you know, at one point I kind of stressed out about that myself in terms of, like, I thought I was going to need to do that in order to make sales, you know, to meet people where they are and give them what they want. And it would be fun for me too. Like, I want to go to conventions and make a whole bunch of Pokemon plushies, but at the same time, I also like having my business stay open and not being sued. And do I think, you know, at a small market in my hometown, no, it's not likely that, you know, Disney representatives are going to come out and haul someone out of the mall. But at the same time, like, I don't want to take that risk. And I don't want to create merchandise where I can sell things online and then these things I can't sell online because I need to skirt copyright rules. It's just not worth it. And morally, it's not worth it. So I hope I didn't ruffle too many feathers, but we'll see. And this might be another case of crocheters giving me sneers at an event. And you might say, well, Jamie, what are you talking about? Okay. So I did a market about a month and a half ago, and there was a couple other crocheters. One had really big plushies, so we weren't really in competition with one another because everything she had was like big, almost like pillow size, and all my stuff is pretty much, you know, like hands. So I didn't really feel like we were overlapping, but I tried to strike up a conversation. There was a couple of empty tables that vendors that didn't show up, and I just happened to, you know, say like, oh, it's a shame that people didn't come up and we could have moved around and taken more space or reconfigured ourselves. And she kind of gave me this look like, why are you talking to me? And I wasn't sure what to make of that, and I'm already socially awkward enough. So I went back to my booth and didn't think much more of it. And there was another crocheter. She had a whole lot of Grinch stuff. And oh my God, that is also a big copyright no-no. And Seuss Enterprises will come after you. And, you know, I didn't say nothing to her. I just kind of just smiled and moved on. But she came by later on to my booth. Like, she was walking by, and oh my God, I got the dirtiest look. For what? I'm not sure. And I don't know if it's because of what I was selling or not selling, or maybe because of how I priced my items, because I do kind of try to have everything as clearly marked as I can. So I'm not sure what it is there, but it's not the first time that I've run into other crocheters just being really kind of like unfriendly, and I'm not sure what that's about. I am perfectly happy to make friends everywhere, especially because we're not in direct competition with one another. What's the harm? But hopefully I haven't now created a situation where I am the wet blanket. But it's whatever. I'm there to make my money and have my shot with the customers just as much as everyone else. So we'll see how we do. I'm hoping we do well. I hope that a lot of people turn out and take advantage of everybody's creativity and, you know, get some last minute deals. But at the same time, like, Emerald Square Mall is a mall that is dwindling in traffic when there isn't events going on. So I'm hoping that doesn't, you know, turn into crickets. We'll see. I will try to get a little bit of footage, even if I don't do like a full market recap video. So we'll have a little bit of, you know, a report. So now that we've moved on, I'm going to show you some of the things that I've made recently for the fair and what I'm continuing to make. I am still in the process of making these chicken nuggets, these emotional support chicken nuggets. I kind of batch make them. So basically I make them all except the last 2 rows. And for the first one in my batch, I did it all the way up. I do the 2 rows at the top, and I give myself a long tail, and then I unpull, you know, frog the top 2 rows because I want to be able to put on their faces, put in the safety eyes, and stuff them. So, but this allows me to know how much extra yarn to leave for a tail, as you can see here. So then when I go to do the next step, which is to put all the eyes on, stuff them all, put the faces on, I can keep doing that in a batch. I feel like, especially because I go through so many of these, that, you know, I would get bored too quickly if I made one completed before I move on to the next one. I feel like I would never get enough done. And I have 9 of those. I've got almost 4 here. I might make a couple more. I'm going to need to make a ton more for conventions and stuff anyway, and for the other upcoming markets. But as far as trying to get through prep for tomorrow. I'm not going to spend all day on these. But as far as my pattern goes, don't remember where I got the pattern, if I even got a pattern. I've literally been hunting through my history on Instagram and on, my browser history and my files. And I looked at several different chicken nugget patterns, and what I do doesn't match any of them. So I'm really not sure if I just modified it at some point and now it's just ingrained in my brain, because I don't look up a pattern to do these anymore. I will try and link a free pattern that I like or that's close in the show notes if you'd like to give one a shot yourself, but there is literally a ton of them out there. So the next thing I have for you is a pickle. And same thing on this. I am really not sure what pickle pattern I use. I have one that I purchased from Sunshine Creations, Wisconsin on Etsy, and that's the one I'm going to link because it's pretty close to this. I think I may use a different hook size, so my sizing comes out a little differently, but I like it. I was actually only down to 4 pickles before I made some, using the Burnett. They don't look like this. They were in a different variegated. I want to say it's the Burnett Blanket in Forest Sage. But this one is Burnett Blanket Mystical in Spearmint, which I also really like. I just basically just randomly make them from whatever greens I have on hand. So there's a kind of a different flavor. I give them different faces and sometimes too. I really should take notes on these so I can do them more consistently. But I think people like that there is some variations. People like to kind of pick and choose. They don't sell as well as I thought they would. I thought they would fly off the shelf, but they do sell. So it's still worthwhile for me to keep them in stock. Oh my God, the wind is really picking up here. So we'll get through this, and I'm probably going to head right home after this because this is starting to get a little scary. We are supposed to be sunny for tomorrow, so thankfully, hopefully that'll mean people will come out. If it was like this tomorrow, I don't think people are going to want to go to the mall. So next thing I have, oh God, did I put all of them in the bag here? I did. I made 5 more traffic cones. I only had 2 left because I just sold one on Etsy this week. So I made 5 more because I figured that might be popular for tomorrow. It's a quick little make. It's another one that I found it on Instagram, and you think I would have saved the pattern. I'll see if I can hunt it down or hunt one that's close and link that for you. But it's pretty much just a pretty basic shape of increases and a little bit of cornering on the bottom. So some single crochets and then a little bit of double crochet, chain 1, double crochet on the ends. And then a little bit of front loop and back loop to close up the bottom. So these are well tested by my niece. I had these on a table in my room at my house. I didn't give this background, but I live with my folks, and my folks watch my niece while my sister is at work. So, and she's almost 2. Her name is Maddie, and she's a big fan of pretty much everything I make, almost. But I guess when nobody was looking, she had gone into my room and had stolen all of these one by one and was playing with them. So, they are no worse for wear, thankfully, but at least we know that they are kid approved. Next thing I have, and is one of my best sellers, or is my best seller, honestly, is loaf cats. I've made so many of these, but I've been trying to restock different colors and designs that I didn't have, or that I sold out at CardCon. So I've made a few this week. I have this little pink kitty. I don't think I used gray last time for the whiskers, but I like it with this. This is also Burnett Mystical in the color Pink Quartz, and I really like that. It's got a kind of a soft color. I don't have one with me, but I also use the Burnett Mystical in Gray Cloud to make a little light browny gray color cat, and also Canyon, which is a more orangey version tonal of this. And I think those really look good for your typical orange tabbies with just enough natural variation in the color so that they look like real cats. And I think that is the appeal of these, is I make these in all sorts of different colors and breeds, and that's what I like about them, is that all these different breeds of cats are all relatively cat shaped. So it's really just a matter of colors and styles. And like I have this one new. This is Beach Foam. And this is a new colorway for me too. I like how it's got like a little bit of subtle striping on the body where all the stitches are the same number of stitches around. I have to be careful with some of these variegateds that they don't create weird striping. Like, for example, I don't have one with me, but I made one in Bernat blanket in Falling Leaves, which is a nice, pretty, has some reds and oranges and browns, which is kind of like a tortie. And because the body is the same amount of stitches all the way around, like very cylindrical, all the colors tend to line up at the same spot around. And so I had this unplanned pooling that looked like stripes. And I said, okay, I'll take 2 balls and I'll alternate. And well, you have to alternate every row. I tried alternating every 2 rows and I ended up with a checkerboard. So I do have to be mindful of that with some of the poolings on these. But overall, I'm happy with the effects. I have this one that I finished last night. This is a tuxedo. This is actually one of my most popular. I would say the most popular ones I have is calico. Everyone likes the calicos. And tuxedos, all black and all white, sell out almost every time. I have a white and orange. I'm going to do a cookies and cream one with like a black speckle and black kind of splotchy. I try to keep all the different variations up on our Etsy shop. I have to take pictures of a couple more, but the possibilities are really endless. And I sell these for about $25, and people don't really bat an eye at the price. So they move really well, and they're easy and they're fun to make. So I don't mind doing them. I know these are pretty chunky boys though. I know this is the original Loaf Cat pattern by Annie Caraway Art on Etsy. And I know she also has a Loaf Kitten and Mini Kitten pattern that makes a smaller cat. And I know I think that's really popular with a lot of people, is like a little small make. I haven't bought that pattern or made any yet. I'm debating for conventions whether I want to offer a smaller cat or if I want to try a different cat pattern altogether, like the Dumpling Kitty or something. I'll leave a link for that in the show notes as well. So if that's something you're interested in. So yes, all of my little cats and my traffic cones and my pickles. And that's probably what I'm going to be focused on wrapping up today. I have a couple more pickles I want to make and finishing off these chicken nuggets. And then I'm probably going to spend the rest of my afternoon on scrunchies. I have a whole bag here. I didn't crochet all of these this week, but I crocheted a lot of scrunchies. And this whole bag is enough for all of the 5 scrunchie sets that I talked about in the last video that I want to make. So as you can see, they come out pretty nice, decent size, a little ruffly, very soft. So I'm hoping these do well, and I'm hoping that maybe by putting them into, their own little sets, that might sell a little better than rifling through a bucket. I'll still have a bucket of singles for people to look through, but I figured maybe some gift sets might go quicker. Just a little impulse buy. So that's probably how I'm going to spend the rest of my day. And by that point, hopefully the rain will have slowed down, enough for us to go to the storage unit and get the rest of our bins of products that are in storage, and also our shop supplies that we keep. I don't necessarily need at my house. So things like bags and the linens and all table linens and stuff like that, they stay in one bin, and that usually goes to storage. So Mark's going to come over later on this afternoon, so hopefully by then the rain will have stopped enough for us to do that and load up the car with the tables and the bins and everything. That way we don't have to scramble first thing in the morning, because setup is going to be around 9:15, so I want to get there right away because the doors do open at 11. So I want to have plenty of time for us to set up, because I'm not sure exactly how we're going to lay ourselves out. I don't have a map yet, so I don't know how we're going to lay ourselves out. I did pay for 2 tables, and they said we could do an L shape if we wanted, or do them inline. So it's really going to depend on where I end up. If I'm kind of in a kitty corner or something, or near a store where an L shape would make sense, that's what I'll do, because I'd rather keep things contained. Because I think it'll be busy. It's going to be close quarters, and unfortunately, I wish I could say that theft isn't a thing. It's never happened to me, but I don't want it to start. So anything that'll help us keep an eye on our products will be better. Otherwise, we're going to end up 2 6-foot tables next to one another with everything laid out. And we probably just won't go as high on the cubbies as we normally would, because I don't want to be in a situation where people are looking at stuff over and I can't see over if I need to. Not that I'm one of those people that likes to stare people down while they're shopping, because I know nobody likes that kind of undue pressure, which is kind of why I always bring crochet projects with me. I don't know if I'm going to be doing more scrunchies or maybe making more chicken nuggets, but I usually bring some yarn and my crochet hook, and that way they see me working on a project and it lends a little bit more like legitness to the craft. I wish I could say that we didn't have to worry about things like Temu or drop shipping or people selling things or passing them off as things that they made when they were really made by someone else for very little wages. Crochet, by its very nature, is not easily manufactured by machine. It's not. It is done by hand. Knitting can be done by machine, but not crochet. And so even when you see like all very small, intricate makes and people have like a booth full of them, sometimes you have to be a little wary that may have been made by someone who's not making even minimum wage. It may not even be made in this country. And those people really deserve better for their craft, because some of these things are really amazing. And that's why it's really important to support local artists and pay real wages for the goods that you're buying. It's so hard these days to compete with fast fashion and fast products in general. So going through my notes here, that pretty much covers everything that I'm doing for tomorrow. And like I said, I will have a little recap or something. My next look at what I made this week video isn't going to be until actually after Christmas too, which is fine because it's probably going to include some gift makes. And if I give them away, I may not have them to show on video, but I will definitely take some photos that I can put into a video so you'll be able to see what I'm working on, because naturally Jamie leaves all of the gift making to the last minute. So we'll talk about that more. As far as upcoming events for the next year, I have an opportunity to vend at a couple of quarter auctions. I've never been to one. So Mark and I decided that we're going to go to one on the 10th on a Saturday night with some bingo, and just as regular people, so we can kind of see how the process goes and whether we feel like it would be worth it for us to be vendors there, especially when it's, we have to pay a booth fee and a raffle item and also provide something for the auction, and hope that we can make all that back with a 6-foot table. What I am confirmed, my next confirmed event after tomorrow is the Mother Brain Market in New Bedford, put on by Acorn Noir Records. That's going to be on January 17th, which is also a Saturday. The market's going to be from 3 to 7, and then they're going to have an after party at the bar for after 7 o'clock. So I'm pretty excited about that. They are pretty excited to feature us, and I think I'm going to be able to bring some of our more quirky makes. Their logo surprisingly has not, it has an acorn, but they're very into like bats and skulls and things like that. So I think I'm going to enjoy vending there with some of our offerings. And so I'll close this now as we're getting on towards the half an hour mark, and the rain is getting a little scary out here. What I'm reading for this episode, I picked up A Christmas Carol on Audible, narrated by Tim Curry. And that was like 3.5, almost 4 hours, but it was enjoyable. He did a great job. I love Tim Curry in all shapes and forms. So that was definitely a welcome holiday treat this week. And if you have a chance to check that out yourself, you won't be disappointed. It's a great reading. As far as what I'm watching, the next channel I want to feature is A Brush with Becca. She does a lot of paint color analysis and art history reviews. In the last couple of years, she's picked up a lot of like antique colors and paints, some of which are really toxic. And I'm not saying like, yeah, I just want to watch Becca almost poison herself, but I really appreciated that she took the time to get some of these old paints and some of these things that are potentially dangerous so that we could see what these colors really looked like way back in the day when people were using them. Things like, Mummy Brown, was it really made from bodies? Guess what? Yes. Or things like, oh, what's it called? Manganese blue, which is like a super, super bright, vivid blue. Things like that, or like London purple. Colors that are absolutely beautiful and not really safe for today's use. But she has a lot of interesting content. She recently put a video out discussing Pantone's color of the year for 2026. If you haven't seen that, the color of the year is going to be Cloud Dancer, which is kind of a white shade. And that's brought a lot of controversy. As far as my own personal opinions, I don't think it's a great choice. They've had some really, really good colors over the years, but the last couple of years have been neutrals as well, like a peachy color, almost like a skin tone, and then like a kind of a cafe au lait kind of brown from last year. I think they called it mocha mousse or something like that. So another neutral after that kind of still feels very sad beige mom and samey. Like, I feel like there's so much more they could have done with different colors, or they say they were going for a reset, like people searching for simplicity and tranquility, and for a lot of us, white does not equal peace and tranquility. Sometimes it can be anxiety inducing, and that there are other shades that would be that. And I know Pantone can't pick something that is literally going to be enjoyed by everyone, but I feel like they kind of missed their mark with this one. So I'll link her channel in the show notes so you can check that out and give her some love as well. And drop some comments and let us know what you think. Again, I'm still looking for your thoughts on what we can include for content here. But I'd also like to hear your thoughts now that I've touched on things like the copyright issues or on Pantone's color of the year. And let's start some conversations. I thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!